Welcome to the Wrestling Skull podcast. This is the Magnificent 7 edition, and tonight we talk all about Survivor Series in our favourite Survivor Series matches. All that and more coming up. Yes, we're back. I'm your host, John Scott, joined as always by my co-host, Matt Essex. Matt, how you doing for probably, I think, of all the Magnificent Sevens we've done, this has probably given us the most depth to go through of options, quite frankly. Best, or our favourite, if you will, or just sort of overall moments of Survivor Series. How you doing, Matt, first of all, and how did your list come along?
Yeah, I'm not doing too bad. Obviously, if my voice sounds a little bit stranger today, it's because I have picked up the yearly kind of cold that's going around, but I'll power through that. But yeah, the whole Survivor Series Magnificent 7, I thought straight away I had them like mapped out in my mind, but once I thought about it, 29 like Survivor Series, it is a lot, isn't it? There's so much to actually go through. If you're going to sit there and review each kind of one in your mind, thinking, well, there was a moment in this one, it took a lot of thinking actually. So yeah, I'm glad we had about a few weeks to come up with the ideas for this. Yeah,
I'm with you on that one, because certainly there was a lot, and I said to Matt before we come on the air tonight that even tonight I was going through some Survivor Series pay-per-views, and I sort of that huge realisation that there have been 29 pay-per-views up until this point, so that's a heck of a lot. And I literally in the last hour, I've even forget the order, I've literally taken some in and some out. That's how sort of undecided I've been up until this point, but nonetheless I have a 7. And I certainly have a lot of mentions. Before we go on, it's probably worth me pointing out that I think we based this, Matt, we agreed and decided that we based this on just Survivor Series moments rather than favourite moments that I might have said at the top of the show. So just in case people were wondering, these are just our sort of what we think are the biggest moments in Survivor Series and how we rank them. I think... just to clarify for tonight, we are live. Of course, Raw will be coming up. Survivor Series is this Sunday. And just to let all the listeners know, we're going to have a full preview that will drop on Saturday morning. That'll be UK time. And we will be previewing not only Survivor Series, but NXT TakeOver. And we're even going to talk about Ring of Honor, because they're over in the UK this week. And myself, Matt, and our mutual friend Rob are all heading down to London in a last-minute change of venue as well in Bethnal Green, York Hall. So, we're going to have a huge preview coming up. And then that means, Matt, we're going to have an extra long review as well, I think, on Monday. So, you're going to have to remember a lot, I think. This whole weekend coming up is going to be quite a lot. But yeah, for those of you wondering, the whole preview, stay tuned for that. It's going to drop this whole weekend. You can literally pick it up, and everything will be on there that you need to know. Plus news, and anyone that wants to get in touch and ask questions or has any theories or predictions for Survivor Series or TakeOver, or even you may even be heading to Ring of Honor, just drop us an email at the Wrestling Skull Podcast at gmail.com. And without further ado, Matt, I think we should get this Magnificent 7 off to a start, the Survivor Series. And I'm going to go ahead and go with my number 7, Matt, so stand by. And this one is the one that, I was sort of undecided because I thought, probably to a lot of people, this isn't the grandest thing that the moment or whatever else that happened. But for me personally, this was a big deal. It's probably, I'm trying to look on my list. Yeah, I would say it's the most. I'm going to give out a little hint here, Matt, that this is probably my most modern Survivor Series moment.
I'm guessing by that, but I know what it is. It might have something to do with one of your favourite kind of wrestlers, like who maybe just retired recently. Is it?
Yeah. Well, Matt's on the right lines. You see, he reads this very, very well, and I'm sure the listeners that listen to this podcast often will know who we're talking about here. And of course, the icon Sting himself is who I've listed at number 7, because it's, I know in the biggest, grandest scheme of things, it's probably not perceived as maybe one of the biggest pulled off angles they ever did when it did get to WrestleMania. But just the fact, Matt, that Sting came out at last after 13 years of sort of staying away from WWE after WCW folded, and finally getting this guy in, and he was, given that he was sort of aged how he was, what was he, 54, 55, somewhere around that, finally getting into WWE, and just that whole buzz when he came out. I think even though the fans were expecting him to come on WWE TV, it was one of those things, Matt, where even though Sting was involved in the video game, it was still sort of like it wasn't always going to happen. Like you just felt like Sting has really stuck his heels down about not being on WWE TV, that perhaps we'll never see him. But we finally did get to see him, and finally the icon was there, and I know that the feud, it wasn't the best. I'm going to say that much. But I think just as a moment, seeing Sting come out, it was a big deal, and of course he would square off with Triple H in the ring. I think he got a huge pop when he came out. I'm going to say one thing about this, Matt. I wasn't happy with the music, but bar that, I would have preferred Sting's original music from WCW, but bar that, it was a great moment. Matt, have you got anything to add to that? And also, is that in your list?
It was going in and out, but then at the end of it, I thought, well, it was kind of a brief kind of moment, wasn't it? And it really did spoil that also important authority versus Team WWE match, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
So that really panned out well as well in the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was good because, like you say, it was a hugely important moment because people were thinking, I was one of the people thinking that Sting would go down as the name in wrestling that always had the door open to walk into WWE but chose not to.
Sure.
And that always made him an incredibly kind of interesting kind of guy because of that, because you'd think, well, everyone always aspires to be part of the WWE, so why would someone choose not to? And that always made him a hell of a lot more interesting to me. So when he actually did turn up, I kind of thought, okay, so this is the day, this is the moment, this is what people have been waiting. Some people have been waiting like almost 20 years to see this. So yeah, hugely important moment for WWE.
Yeah. So Matt, without further ado, what is your number 7 to kick things off?
Okay, my number 7, let's get this one out of the way because we all know it's coming. And some people might be surprised, it's quite high up on my list, but it is the debut of The Undertaker back in 1990, I believe it was.
Yes, absolutely.
And yeah, what a debut, because he came out, he was big, intimidating, scary, and possibly of that era, the best kind of rebranding of a character that they had done. Mm-hmm. Coming off with WCW, he wasn't actually seen as someone hugely important or in their future plans, but man, did they drop the ball with The Undertaker, because he has become one of the top legends in the entire industry. And they totally nailed it with his kind of debut, didn't they? And the whole kind of gimmick that he had of being kind of indestructible, and they didn't actually make him lose any sort of credibility because he ended up getting counted out, and I think they got it really right on that night.
Yeah, well, I can tell you, Matt, that did not go on my list. That was in and out of mine for quite some time. That didn't make it, but You're absolutely right about the Undertaker. He that debut was a real. It was like very much in your face of where WWF at the time were going to go with this guy. I think we'd seen all these gimmicks, and of course, if you go back and listen to our magnificent one on gimmicks, the Undertaker is just literally the one that literally came off the best, and I think a lot of it goes down to the guy behind the Undertaker for putting on this incredible, the persona that he does and takes it so seriously. The Undertaker himself, and what a career he's had, and Survivor Series in general, Matt, always has a place for the Undertaker. I think a lot of moments have happened for him in general. I think he's like if there's a Mr. WrestleMania, which is Shawn Michaels, and I think a Mr. Survivor Series would definitely be someone like the Undertaker in general. But yes, I did not make it on my list, Matt, but that's a good call nonetheless. The Undertaker debuting. What was that, Matt? Was that 1990? Was that?
Yeah, I believe it was 1990. Yes, so quite a while ago now.
Yeah, all that time ago. So yes, and of course, I should know it was 99 because of course last year we celebrated, what was it, the 25 years of the Undertaker, wasn't it, Survivor Series? So yeah, definitely a big thing at Survivor Series. Okay, well, number 6, Matt. I'm not sure if you're going to have this one. I'm guessing you may have, depending. But mine, I've gone for the when they had the Survivor Series match, which saw the end of the Alliance. That year, which was in 2001, it would be Team WWF, literally the team of WWF, because it was them against this the Alliance, which was essentially WCW and ECW, and whoever won, as luck would have it, would basically their company would kind of overall win the victory. Very very oddly done. I've got to say, Matt, I don't know if this is just one of my favourite moments because it's there because I was just so fed up with the feud. I really did not enjoy the invasion angle, and I might be alone on that one because I know people are they're very sort of differently about it. They feel differently about it, because it was, everyone had been waiting to see WCW against WWF, but to be honest, the WCW roster was not exactly amazing. In fact, I felt ECW had a stronger roster when they done that angle with their guys, and their guys were getting more over than the WCW ones. So, but that particular match is certainly, for me, it done a few things for me, Matt, in that match. Like Kurt Angle, I think, become a star that night. I really was, he was the guy that, of course, turned his back on and would come back to, would help the WWF do, most of the work in that. And then, of course, Austin, who was with the Alliance, there was just this whole shenanigans of who was with who. I mean, the fact, Matt, that Austin had to go on WCW's team probably spoke volumes about their sort of depth of talent that they had to have done that. But Matt, first of all, is that on your list? And secondly, your memories from the Alliance ending at Survivor Series in 2001?
It definitely is. It's quite a bit further up on my list, I will say. So
fair enough.
I can talk about it now.
Yeah, no, I think we'll wait for that one. I think we'll just go straight to your number 6.
Right, my number 6. Okay, I'm guessing if you didn't have The Undertaker's debut, then you probably don't have this one. It is a year later for The Undertaker, and it is his first heavyweight title that he wins.
Right.
And he won this at the Survivor Series, didn't he? And I remember being an incredibly huge deal at the time because for someone to come into the WWF, and in just 1 year to become heavyweight champion, and not just to become heavyweight champion, but to take it off of Hulk Hogan, what kind of an impact does that leave? And man, that's a lot of faith from someone that came in to WWF as pretty much someone who was unwanted from WCW, coming into WWF and becoming the champion. That's quite a leap, and I think it surprised a lot of people at the time, even though it was a relatively short title reign, shall we say? But I think it said a lot at the time.
Yeah, well, I can tell you, Matt, that is on my list, and in fact, it goes in my number 5.